Hi, in this video, we're going to talk about being a solopreneur and being overwhelmed. And, a solopreneur is a one person business, and you don't have a lot of employees and you do pretty much everything yourself. And so that can be very overwhelming, especially if you're just starting out, or even if you're, very successful and you've got a lot going on and um, it doesn't matter if you're a one person business, everything rests on your shoulders. You are the janitor, you're the receptionist, you're the creator, you're the everything. So this can be very overwhelming. And so what I want to talk about today is how to kind of do away with some of that feeling of being overwhelmed. And so the first thing I would say about it, and that I've learned and am learning, is to keep it simple. And this can be so quickly overdone, because if you're like me, you're a perfectionist and you want to make sure that everything is in place. And so it's important to keep it simple. And what that means is that, starting out where you're at and just going with what you have. And, there's a term it's used a lot, or I hear it a lot. It's, start messy, don't make sure you don't have to make sure that everything's in order and everything's just right. And I can tell you from experience that when I've put out a digital product, and I work on it and it takes me a couple months, and I spend time agonizing over the fine details. I find out that was usually a waste of time, because what I should have done was just gone with the first version of it. And there's a lot to be said for that, because keeping it simple allows you to pivot and make decisions and move in different directions that are really going to benefit you, your business, and your ideal customer. Also, having the right tools. It's important in keeping it simple. And when it comes to the right tools, you've got to figure that out. I don't have a list of what's universally the right tools, but I can give you an example. Is I used to set up websites, and I would use WordPress, and I would buy my domain, and I would have my domain hosted, and I'd have to get the right plugins, and and it just got to be a lot. And then that becomes a full-time job. So are you a content creator, or are you a website builder and a webmaster? So you got to kind of figure that out. And what I've learned to do is ask the question: is what I'm doing, is it moving the needle forward to creating a profit, or is it just consuming me in areas of using up my time and resources and things that really aren't useful? And as a solopreneur, we need to be focused on, making a profit, moving the needle forward and moving in that direction. And, we need to constantly be asking that question. So some of the tools that I have found, and recently I've started taking my websites down, because I asked that question, are these making me money, or making a profit? So a couple of them I make a few dollars, but I wasn't making a profit. So I brought all my websites down, and I've restructured that, and I am keeping my domains. And what I've done is I've gone to System.io, and I have a link down below. You can go and check it out, what they have to offer. They have a free plan, and they have different tiers, but what they have to offer is just amazing. It's super simple to use. It's really tailored towards, I think, solopreneurship. And their free plan, for example, offers you 2,000 people on your email list. You can send out as many emails as you want. You can create a blog there. You can have as many blog posts as you want. You can create a community there with as many people in your community. And this is all on their free plan. And so, it's just amazing what they offer. And so that was one way that I streamlined things and kept it simple. Another thing that I've done is I've recently started a newsletter, and I've done that on Substack. And Substack offers a lot of tools, and it's very easy to use. There's an audience there that, with many, many different interests. And so I've streamlined it to doing that. And everything is geared towards building a mailing list and building an audience. And so I take, make it, just keeping it simple in that way. The other thing I do is, like this video, for example, very simple, very, the right tools. I'm using my phone. I've got a fancy camera. I've been, in the internet marketing space for 10 years. I've bought a lot of equipment. but I'm not taking the time to set it up. I'm standing in the corner of a spare room I have at my house, and just again keeping it simple. And this video that I'm shooting is one take, no script, no editing, and I'm going to put it up and publish it when I get done with it. Then the other thing is that doing everything in moderation is important. To do it in moderation. What I mean by that is that being a solopreneur should add to your lifestyle, should add to the quality of life, and not make you a slave to your business. It shouldn't be another boss that you're answering to. And so one way to keep things into moderation is to make, like what I'm doing here, making this video, keeping it simple. I'm not overdoing it. I'm not staying up late nights like I used to. I'm actually scheduling out my time, and staying true to that schedule. And one thing that I do is that you've got to be in it for the long game, and that adds to the moderation. So a lot of times when we think we've got to make this dollar overnight, we get in there and nothing isn't. It's all or nothing type of thinking. So moderation, So for example, I'm doing. I'm posting an article a day, and I've got a system worked out, and I'm able to do that. And so my moderation, that would have looked like extreme a year or two ago, but now I'm able to do that within that moderation. And then, building my personal brand adds to that element also. So building your personal brand is important. And how do you do that? What's your personal brand? Well, your personal brand is you, and it's what you bring. It's your personality. It's your values. It's everything about you. And what you have to offer your ideal customer. And so you do that by showing up consistently. And you do that by putting out quality content, stuff that's helpful, and really answering the needs of your audience, and providing solutions. And so all that goes together. And when you're able to do this and streamline it, it really takes away the feeling of overwhelm. The last thing I want to leave you with is planning. Take a minute and plan it. Plan out what you're going to do, your articles, your video, or what it's going to be about. I had an idea what this video was going to be about, but I, again, didn't script it. And so I just left it at that. So with all that, I want to just thank you for watching. Here's to your success. And until the next video, God bless you.